Electrocast.
This episode is brought to you by Tic Tac. Your boss is going off at you for missing a deadline, and you swear the clock just moved backwards. Suddenly, you remember the pack of Tic Tacs on your desk. Now you're riding horseback on the beach, the smell of citrus in the air. And what's this? Your boss is sitting behind you, breathing heavenly fresh mint? Refresh your mouth and mind and share your good vibes with Tic Tac.
The all-new 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid doesn't just turn heads. It commands respect. With its stunning exterior, luxurious interior with available captain seats, and spacious third-row seating and equipped with advanced technology, you and the family are making a statement before you even step out. Okay, Hyundai. Visit HyundaiUSA.com to learn more and experience the all-new 2026 Palisade Hybrid today.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Wesley demands.
Now this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What you feel only matters to you.
I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or whatever movies with Wesley and Iris.
What up, and welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host, Iris, and I'm here with my older brother,
Wesley.
Today we're talking a movie from 2025. It's
F1 Maverick.
I thought How to Train Your Dragon was the original Top Gun Maverick.
I know, this is a sequel. It's the successor in almost all respects.
You mean it's Days of Thunder?
Exactly.
Don't they say at the end of F1, the movie, by the way, is that what it's really called?
Yes.
Like, let's go slay some dragons or something?
Are you trying to connect this to How to Train Your Dragon?
Well, all roads lead back to Top Gun Maverick, but now with How to Train Your Dragon being the original Top Gun Maverick, it's getting kind of confusing for me.
Oh, man. Confusion abounds as regards this movie. Do you know that Jerry Bruckheimer, this should be called Jerry Bruckheimer's F1, the movie. You know that Jerry Bruckheimer in the 80s produced Top Gun and then immediately rolled on to Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
And then produced Top Gun Maverick and immediately rolled on to F1 with Brad Pitt and Joseph Kosinkski,
so
who directed
crazy.
Top Gun Maverick.
And F1 is so Top Gun Maverick. I mean, I'm not as well versed with Days of Thunder, but it's the old guy coming back with all of his sageness and his wisdom. He's got the young rookie, the hot shot.
But there's a young upstart who doesn't want to play by the rules.
But then, like at the end of Top Gun Maverick, I couldn't tell who was going to sacrifice who for the other. And then, like in Top Gun Maverick, they both kind of do sacrifice. Right? One.
Not quite
other.
A misdirect, because they know that it's formulaic. They have to know.
Formulaic.
And the idea of, obviously he's excellent. The idea that he's going to concede and let the young rookie have his day in the sun because he's already found his redemption, his spiritual and moral redemption or whatever is fine, right?
Yeah.
But no, he gets to win.
But that wasn't engineered by Joshua, right? Pierce didn't purposefully cause that collision with the defending champ to let Brad Pitt win. That was the miracle, right? That was the payoff for the miracle.
It's, the old versus young trope, the wisdom versus ambition thing. It happened in Rocky, it happened in Top Gun, and here it happens in F1. But I do think that Sonny, to your point, was in control of all the stuff. At least the miracles were in his favor.
He wasn't that cunning, Joshua. It was a miracle, which they set up. You know, I haven't seen one yet at the very beginning. And then they come full circle on him flying. When it went all quiet and he was flying and Carrie Condon's like, he's flying. I was like, don't screw it up. Don't do it, Sonny. Don't throw this. Don't pull some wild card shenanigans at this point, because I really wanted to win. I really wanted Apex to win.
Look at that. Jerry Bruckheimer put you firmly in the driver's seat. You're all invested or whatever, and eyes on the road, eyes on the prize. Man, his strategy was successful.
Despite myself, because this was so formulaic. It was so Top Gun Maverick. But remember also when the mom, Joshua's mom, is like, it doesn't make sense. And then Javier Bardem is like, it's a it's a Sunny thing, or it's a Sunny Hayes thing, or something to the. I was like, you might as well just substitute that for this. It's a Brad Pitt thing, right? This was a Apple algorithm engineered leading man part for Brad Pitt, and by the time we got to Abu Dhabi, I knew that Apex would win. I just didn't know how, but I found myself surprisingly invested in how and when they won.
And to add to that, Brad Pitt says he was around racing and demolition derby, being from the Ozarks at a super young age. He worked on this movie for years. Obviously, he produced it with Plan B, and he is tailor-made for this role, right? He's grizzled but swarthy and still good-looking and stuff, and it just seems like Tom Cruise flew so Brad Pitt could drive. We always talk about the Brad Pitt mouth thing. Was it just gum in this one?
It was.
Tell me about Kate.
It was all mouth. I was so distracted by the Brad Pitt mouth. Were you not? Now that I've pointed this out to you,
sure. But I think it was purposeful in this one. He's like a gum-chewing backwoods kind of like the guy who rose through the ranks or whatever.
No, don't pretend that this was character motivated. It's full-on Brad Pitt tick. And that's fine. It's fine. It's distracting. But it's his instrument. It's what he uses to intimate, to act. He's not an actor who uses his eyes. He's not an actor who uses his subtle head tilts. It's his mouth and it's his laugh.
And the like wrinkled forehead kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, the knitted brows. Yes, you're right. His hair and his eyebrows were so awesome in this movie. Even when he comes out of the helmet, it's like his hair is perfectly, matted but coiffed at the same time. I was kind of obsessed with how great Brad Pitt looked in this movie.
I know that like in Snatch, he was, I guess you can't say he was a Romany wanderer. You can't say gypsy anymore, right? But this was maybe next to that, his most tattooed movie too. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of little white guy tattoos going on.
Yeah, because it has to show, his, he's got the tattoos, he's got the scars. It's like the map of Sunny Hayes' existence. And it makes him like bad boy hot. I mean, Carrie Condon certainly seemed like she was into it.
Was that weird for you at all? Because he was so transparent in his interest. He was asking, so tell me about Kate, Was it at all icky? She's in a position of arguably more power than he is as a fated sort of driver looking for redemption. She was the first race commander woman or whatever. Like, she was a big girl. He wasn't like a prey kind of thing.
Ooh. Well, I'm just seeing now that, he's got 20 years on Carrie Condon.
Is that ever good? I guess not. Probably not.
But she seemed like an appropriate, realistic.
She was the architectural innovator.
Yeah, she was like the head engineer chick. Oh, none of this works, Wes. I take it all back. I have to say, they didn't have chemistry from the outset, but by the end, I believed them. She was ready for this kind of relationship. He was ready for that kind of relationship. And he appropriately, respectfully, made the move.
Man, so when Joshua Pierce dies in the sequel in F2, I guess you can't call it F2, she will join him in the car, right? And be his wing person?
Maybe.
Then she'll get in the car.
Yeah, I mean, Penny, she sailed boats. She didn't fly planes.
It's true. F1, the most successful Brad Pitt movie, the highest payday of Brad Pitt's career, and the biggest Apple original movie of all time.
Those are all pretty impressive stats, and I kind of can't help but feel happy for Brad Pitt and Apple.
Yeah, no, but I mean, they paid him $30 million out of the gate. Get it? Because like racing. Anyway, but it's also arguably Apple's only real hit. I think the one that made money.
I think that's a horse racing term because they have so. It's like off the starting line, maybe 0 to 30.
Yeah, but horse racing was just F1. It was H1 before there was cars.
0 to 30 million in 0.1 second?
Sure.
Okay.
But, I mean, we're talking about Killers of the Flower Moon. We're talking about The Irishman, and those are both Martin Scorsese movies. But still, this movie only doubled its budget, and it's a success, but they really want it to be a success because typically they'd be like, oh, it only made $650 million or whatever on a $300 million budget. That's kind of flop-ish or getting close to flop, but they really want to promote this.
Their FYC campaign is aggressive. I haven't seen so many screenings with Q&As and receptions. Like, they're trotting out Joseph Kosinkski. Brad Pitt certainly seems to be on the circuit. Haven't seen as much from Javier Bardem for some reason.
Circuit.
It's shocking to me how much Javier Bardem is the heart of this movie for me. I'm so emotional when he's emotional, when he's fist pumping and when he's champagne spraying and stuff. I'm only watching the joy on Javier Bardem's face. And I think maybe it's because it's such a contrast to his wraith-like existence in No Country for Old Men, which I'm most familiar with. And it's also, isn't he not like speaking? He doesn't like acting in English.
I'm not sure about that. He's been in extremely high-profile movies, Pirates of the Caribbean among them. Caribbean? I'm tripping up on this recently, and I'm not sure why.
What? Caribbean? What's the problem?
Because some people say Caribbean.
Yeah, that's where you go for vacation. But what you watch in the ride, that's Caribbean.
So going back to this framework, all set up for Brad Pitt to just slip into the driver's seat at the last minute right before the race starts. Top Gun Maverick had Joseph Kosinski directing, Jerry Bruckheimer producing, and Aaron Kruger writing. That entire team just moved over to F1 and slipped in Brad Pitt. You were talking about Javier Bardem not having as much a place in the junkets and the interview circles and stuff. But Tom Cruise showed up to support his friend. They've recently rekindled this friendship that wasn't a competition because Brad Pitt wasn't having fun in their only movie together, him and Tom Cruise, which was Interview with the Vampire. And that was a long time ago, over 30 years ago. So Tom Cruise shows up on the red carpet. But it's noteworthy that I was looking for Tom Cruise greeting Javier Bardem. He was originally part of Universal's Dark Universe with him. He was in Collateral with him, but Tom Cruise boned his wife after Vanilla Sky, and they were together for a few years. And it's been noted that Tom Cruise won't go to the Oscars if Nicole Kidman is there because he doesn't want to bump into her. So Apparently it's friendly. Apparently Tom Cruise and Penelope Cruz had a amicable split. And he and Javier Bardem have remained friendly, but it's a little bit weird, and I was looking for that. Like, does he really have a good relationship with Brad Pitt? Does he really have a good relationship with Javier Bardem? I'm not sure. Definitely does with Joseph Kosinski because Top Gun 3 is actively in production, as is F1, the movie, Part 2.
It is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With Tom Cruise?
No, with Brad Pitt, but they are fast-tracking it.
Stop. I'm down the Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise rabbit hole. I'm looking at a picture of Tom Cruise pointing at Brad Pitt on the F1 red carpet.
I love you, Tom Cruise. Please sponsor us.
And though the indirect history between Tom Cruise and Javier Bardem, though that is cringeworthy, it's nice to see that they can occupy the same red carpet together.
I mean, I think so. I think Tom Cruise was a different character. I don't know that he would have slipped into Sonny quite as well, despite the fact he was basically Sonny in Days of Thunder 1,000 years ago. But Brad Pitt has the look. He's got like the backstory or whatever that lends itself to the aging racer in F1. But Maverick is more of a tortured kind of loser. I know where I belong. You should be a 2-star admiral by now. But Sonny doesn't really have a lot to prove. It's more about his quiet redemption. He's not like angling to steal the spotlight from Pierce or anything like that. He helps him out. He encourages him. He busts him down a notch when Pierce breaks protocol and does dangerous, wild stuff, but it's a different kind of role. And I think that F1, aside from the stunts and the driving, which was very real, revolves around Sonny's likability. The smile and the romance and all that stuff, but it's an easygoing, comfortable kind of thing Whereas Maverick, as much as he's all smiley and all teeth and likable and stuff, was pretty tortured by his past. Much sadder. And maybe in that way the stakes were higher, because I was excited because this is super thrilling. And I'm sad for you that you didn't get to see this in glorious IMAX. But it really is about the racing and the fun. I wonder how it will hold up if the characters will have what I think is as much emotional impact. I think there was emotional impact in Top Gun Maverick. Did you feel that way in?
Yes.
I mean, likable and fun and all that stuff. And you're like, yay, because Javier Bardem gets emotional and he's all fist pumping and stuff. But were you drawn in by the emotional story and the dynamic between Pierce and he's got his mom and all that stuff?
No, it was just all too formulaic. But I was, even on an iPad, I was really engaged with the racing. And I think that F1, unlike Top Gun Maverick, had the benefit of the announcer voiceover narration, which really does craft the story. It explains pretty deftly and non-intrusively what's going on for a non-racing person like myself. And I feel like they really get, I imagine they crafted a lot of the story after the fact using the announcers. And so I thought that was a real advantage that didn't detract from kind of just like the thrilling nature, the very visceral nature of being in the cars. I think that being in the cars in this cinematic format is actually so much more engaging than any of the televised races I've ever seen, where it always kind of feels like there's no way to understand just how fast they're going when you kind of see them gliding around a track from a third-person omniscient point of view. But getting inside the cars, like getting inside the cockpits of the airplanes, makes it feel super real, even on a small screen.
I mean, there are lots of participants, lots of different characters with different motivations and stuff, entire teams whose job it is not to win necessarily, but to block, to strategize, to help a single member of the team win. If the team wins, then you win, right? But like Powers of Darkness, available at Or Whatever Movies or wherever you get podcasts, with a lot of different voices and a lot of different perspectives, you need someone like an announcer to pull it all together, to create the cartilage or joints or whatever to connect
tissue,
all these theories, right? And the announcer, a good point, really helps. F1 has mixed reactions to this movie. They say that it is good for non-racing fans like ourselves, people who are new to Formula One racing, but it's so inaccurate and so blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it's for entertainment, Hollywood, and it's not for real racers and kind of thing. But we're looking at trying to make a whole lot of money, recoup a lot of budget for the mass audiences. And I think in that way, it really succeeds.
Well, F1, for the record, I am so going to Vegas for the next F1 Las Vegas Boulevard race, because that looked pretty dope.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
So for a non-racing fan, I think it was really effective to draw me in. And I would love to see a race live, kind of knowing a little bit more. So just, for the record, F1, I thought it worked. Please sponsor us. I think it's clear that we liked this movie. But I think what you were saying earlier when you were talking about the difference between Brad Pitt's Sonny Hayes character and the Maverick character is that there really aren't a lot of stakes. In the cold open, in the pre-title sequence, when Javier Bardem basically recruits Sonny Hayes to come back and join the team. By the way, he wasn't he wasn't trying to destroy the team, or was he? Did he admit that he was trying to destroy the team by recruiting Sonny Hayes?
I don't think so. He was trying to keep it from them from selling the team, and so he was kind of going for broke.
Okay, and so the other guy, the other board member from the mysterious board, he was the one that was angling to lose so that he could take over the team?
Right.
But it was never about the money for Hayes. But then what was it about? What was it that drew him to joining the Apex team? Like Maverick, he lived in his van or his trailer, except this time it was in a pit as opposed to a hangar. But unlike Maverick, it wasn't like he needed this. He seemed pretty self-actualized, pretty fulfilled, content with his itinerant race life, living from $5,000 paycheck to $5,000 paycheck. So what was his motivation? And then what was the movie's stakes?
The criticism of the movie is obviously thrilling race scenes, but the story is a little bit lacking. Sure, you have the romance. Sure, you have the conflict and the competitiveness between Sonny and Pierce.
But you're not taking out the uranium enrichment plant.
That's right. I got it. So it was more like the personal risk in that Sonny he came off of a devastating injury. Pierce almost died. There was this idea that he could die at any time. And that was risky, and otherwise Javier Bardem Ruben wouldn't have put him in that position to begin with. He wasn't willing to race Sonny to call him back until he had no other choice, until he was going to lose Apex. And then it was like, screw it, he's basically dead already. He's living in his van all Nomadland style, so let's get him out front and see if we can, teach the old dog one last trick, or he can pull off one last trick. And it was the last-ditch attempt kind of for everyone involved, except for Pierce, who was up and coming and who didn't need this old dude to cramp his style when he was trying to make moves, to further his career.
And then kind of realized at the end that he didn't need to win, that he had his whole career ahead of him. So he had kind of more of a definitely more mature perspective, and perhaps a longer term one, where it wasn't so immediate and it wasn't about the social media and stuff like that. But even that kind of reinforced the idea that there were no stakes. His turn, his evolution, his arc was that he didn't care about social media and the noise.
And that was okay. That's why it was okay that he didn't win. For Pierce, it was just about maintaining his prospects. For Cervantes, he just wanted to stay in the game. Kate, she wanted to be taken seriously. She wanted to, her input and her changes were instrumental. Get it? Instrumental? Does that work? No.
That's not bad. Control.
And for Sonny, he just came back to kind of regained an active portion of his life. He was racing for a reason, and he had people behind him who believed in him, and it wasn't just paycheck to paycheck. And he was back in the light and maybe found love again and mended old relationships, but not Maverick stakes, not Edge of Tomorrow stakes. In a way, this is Brad Pitt trying to legitimize as an action star in a Joseph Kosinkski style movie. When he gets in the thing, can he live up? Can this movie live up to Top Gun Maverick? And I don't know that it does emotionally, but it is thrilling in a way that, when you're in the air and stuff goes wrong, you can either bail out or you have enough time to pull yourself out of a flat spin. And if Goose dies, okay, well, that's what has to happen. And maybe Pierce could have died, but I didn't really see that happening. Otherwise, it is tires on the road, super intimate and close quarters, and there's stuff to crash into, and when you crash, you're dead immediately in a ball of flames.
Except that they both survive their ball of flame crashes.
Their balls of flames, where the team members pull each other out. It's not the crews with fire extinguishers and stuff. No. And Sonny pulled him out of the wreck.
Yeah, he did, because Sonny's the hero.
But I don't care about racing. That said, I found myself at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in my younger years one day, and that level of danger I felt at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when these weren't even Formula One cars. These were like NASCAR cars. And they went by, and it's so shocking and thundering at 220 miles per hour. It displaces the air. It shook my core, and it made my heart skip a beat. It was so close. And so immediately, when you're standing on the other side of the K-rails, those security barriers and behind the fence, it is astonishing how absurd the technology has brought man that it can that a person can travel on the ground that fast with that much power, and like 20 of them. Bumper to bumper. I will always remember that moment. I've never been in like a fighter jet or whatever, but in terms of I understand how unbelievable that is, how fast those cars go. And the fact that they were on the track and doing a lot of the driving themselves, I remembered that moment. And this was all Top Gun Maverick tech that they used, and they just said they had to miniaturize it was the big challenge for this movie, because they put it on real race cars and they flipped them around and had, shots by the wheels and stuff, and super intimate and real because they were out there on the track, even if they weren't going quite as fast as competitive racers.
Miniaturized it? What do you mean?
All the cameras and the rigs, they had 4K cameras, but the stuff they had in the cockpits of the jets, they had to further miniaturize it so they could streamline it and put it on the race cars, which were subjected to the wind and the air as opposed to inside the cockpit of the F-18s.
Gotcha.
So all that technology and stuff was just scaled down, which was the innovation, the James Cameron style innovation for this movie.
Yeah, it's just technology on top of technology, innovation on top of innovation, because this is a highly technical sport, and then you add the whole filmmaking layer to it in order to bring it to life. I imagine that this is and will be recognized for its technical achievement, but that stuff isn't important unless you feel it and unless the story works. Like even Tom Cruise's emotional pre-theatrical release message, like we these are real planes and we're really in there and we did it for you. Like even that is kind of meaningless unless the story works.
Yeah, the story works, and that translates to box office ultimately.
And that's what I think you were saying. I think what you were also saying is that everything tracks, like it's clear. You went through and you explained every character's motivation and arc. It's not that you don't know what's going on. It's just that it, in and of itself, isn't revelatory. But the movie still works.
And it works financially, which is important. I really hope that they are satisfied with the box office take, because it was an awfully risky gamble at $200 to $300 million budget, including advertising and distribution. Let's call it Guillermo del Toro's F1, because I think that this push for consideration for Oscars and other major awards is going to go no. This is the stall. It's not going to, what's it going to win? Best cinematography? Is there a stunts award category? I think there is.
I think this year. There will be, yeah. Cinematography, sound design. It'll kill at the Technical Academy Awards.
Plan B has a great track record with Oscars. Best Picture nominees, Best Picture winners. But this isn't going to be the one, bruh. Top Gun Maverick was nominated for Best Picture, didn't get it. That's not what Tom Cruise is focused on anymore.
Well, Brad Pitt, unlike Tom Cruise, is an Oscar winner, although for producing and not for acting. Brad Pitt, like Sonny Hayes, nothing to prove as far as awards, Hollywood, his acting career. This is like what Jason Reitman said about Channing Tatum in the Roofman Q&A, which we've yet to discuss, review, cover.
I'm ready.
But what Jason Reitman said is that Roofman it's the deliverance of the promise of Channing Tatum. It's everything that you want, expect from a Channing Tatum movie. This is the apotheosis of Brad Pitt. This is everything that you hope for from him. This is everything that you want from a Brad Pitt movie. And I think if I measure it on that level, then Formula One is a massive success.
Man, thank you for explaining it. And now I don't have to look up apotheosis. But we didn't get Brad Pitt butt in this one. We got a lot of Channing Tatum butt in Roofman spoiler.
Is that part of the promise of Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt butt?
I don't know. But Brad Pitt put his butt in the driver's seat, and he and Joseph Kosinkski and Jerry Bruckheimer put our butts in seats for F1. Not you, because you didn't see it in the theaters, but your butt on the couch, and they rocked our butt off with the thrilling action sequences and driving.
I think that's a fitting conclusion to our discussion on F1, the movie, with no Brad Pitt butt here at orwhatevermovies.com or wherever you get podcasts. It was PG-13, right? We didn't even get Carrie Condon butt. No, we just got some kissing up against the wall. That was hot. 818-835-0473 or whatevermovies@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Does this kick off? I think this formally kicks off award season at Or Whatever Movies. Award season, now that Halloween is over, sad to say, and that Powers of Darkness has come to a close, which is actually a good thing because you can listen to all episodes of Iris's Powers of Darkness podcast at Or Whatever Movies. And now we're going to transition into awards season consideration stuff because that's what we do every year. It's what we're doing this year. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With the all-new Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from good to excellent. Introducing the new Sleep Score on Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Electricast.